Good evening, West Coast Berbice, East Berbice, and of course, right here on the Quarantine Coast. Welcome once again to another program of Issues in the News, where we discuss the important events that would have taken place in our country over the last few days. And you know, we live in a country that is very dynamic, and every day a new issue arises of national importance which requires our discussion. And this is a forum that I invite you and I encourage you to join as we discuss the various issues that are affecting the people of our country, and in particular as we focus on the performance of the coalition government. I want to begin by continuing to address the controversial SARA bill. I just concluded an interaction with the Chamber of Commerce of Berbice, and we had a very good interactive session, and I highlighted for the benefit of the Chamber of Commerce here in Berbice the salient aspects of the bill, including the wide and staggering powers which the director of that agency will have once that bill becomes law. That director can do an unimaginable amount of things. He has the power to be a revenue officer, he is a police officer, he's a tax officer, he's a customs officer, and he is an immigration officer, all rolled up in one. And he has the power to command the Director of Public Prosecution, the Commissioner of Police, the head of the Central Bank, the head of the Financial Intelligence Unit, the chairman of the DGMC, the head of the Tender Board, the chairman of the Integrity Commission, the chairman of the Gold Board, the chairman of the Deeds Registry Authority, and every police officer above the rank of inspector. This person that is called SARA, director, has the power to command these various agencies' head, which I have identified, command them to give him information about any person in relation to any given matter. This SARA director has the power to repossess and seize your assets. He has a discretion and a power to determine what assets he will go after. He has a power to determine by himself what operations he is to embark upon. He is answerable to no minister, not even the president. He is appointed by the parliament and dismissed by the parliament. And I have said that the parliament has no power to appoint anybody. Appointment of people is a function of the executive. But most importantly, with the wide and vast powers that this director has, there are absolutely no checks and balances in place to guard against abuse. So there is no one who can curtail his activities. There is no line minister to whom he is answerable. He is not even answerable to the president. And he can command the Minister of Public Security to make him a police officer and an immigration officer, and make any of his officers immigration officers and police officers. He can command the Minister of Finance to make him a revenue officer, a tax officer, and a customs officer. Well, these ministers themselves do not have the power to confer these powers. They don't have the powers themselves, the ministers. So how can they give that which they don't have? So all of that, this director of public, this director of SARA, all these powers he has. And of course, he can also give directions to all these agencies that I have mentioned and command them to assist him in any operations that he decides to go on, and the head of these agencies have no power to refuse the request that he makes. He can come to you, this director, and ask you how many properties you own, and then command you to account to him where you get money to buy the properties that you have purchased. And if you cannot give him an explanation that satisfies him, then he starts a process to acquire your property, because he assumes he has the power to assume that your property is stolen property. He can go into your tax record, and if you have not made, if an audit is done of your taxes and it is determined that you have not submitted accurate tax returns for a period, let us say 5 years, they can audit you, and if he finds that you have under invoice or you have shortchanged, so to speak, the revenue authority, let us say $5 million over a 5-year period, and you have purchased a house during that period, he can determine that that house was purchased with the money that you ought to have paid the state, and that asset becomes state asset, and he can trigger a process to take that asset away from you. You may have acquired your property by a means that was lawful 5 years ago. This bill creates a series of offenses that makes something that may not have been unlawful 5 years ago unlawful now. And if you acquired your property by doing that thing which was lawful then, but they are making it unlawful now, they can come after your property and seize it. So there are a number of very, very, very controversial issues which surround this bill. And despite the concerns raised by the opposition, by civil society, by the human rights organization, by the private sector commission, this government is going ahead with the bill. In fact, the Attorney General has essentially told the private sector that they can do what they want, that they can go to hell, that he will not entertain them. And this is the private sector of our country. This is the institution, apart from the government, that plays a most significant role in the affairs of this country. The private sector outside of the government is the largest employer of Guyanese. The private sector is the engine of economic growth in this country. They contribute significantly to the economic well-being of our country, so that they are an important stakeholder. And you do not treat a stakeholder that is so important as the private sector in the flippant and disrespectful manner that the Attorney General has chosen to treat them. They ask, for example, to meet with the director of SARU, Professor Clive Thomas, and he agreed to meet with them. But he was out of the country, and he told them that upon his return, he will meet with them. Well, he is back in the country, but wrote them to say that because they criticized the bill publicly, he will no longer meet with them. What kind of authoritarian behavior is this? This is a government that appears to be intolerant of criticism. And this is the dictatorship that is slowly creeping in this country. Professor Clive Thomas has essentially dissed the private sector and said to them that I'm not meeting with you because you have made your concerns public, as though it is something wrong to make one's concerns public. So this government is intolerant of a different view, is intolerant of a view that criticizes the government, is intolerant of a view that is different of the government. When that happens, the seeds of a dictatorship are being planted. Intolerance for another view, intolerance of criticism, and intolerance for a view that is different from yours is the foundation of authoritarianism. And that is what is taking place in our country. There is, outside of the studio, a gentleman who I want to invite into the studio and who will relate an incident which he had with the police, where he was beaten, and he will give you the details of the incident. Operator, could you send in that person for me, please? Come please, walk straight in. So viewers, this gentleman, you see on camera, this gentleman is here. You see his hand in some sort of bandage, and he will explain to us why he is wearing that bandage. Sir, could you tell us your name and address, please?
Ramesh Dorpali, and I live in Delphi.
Your name is Ramesh
Dorpali,
and you live
in Delphi.
in Adelphi,
Yeah.
Kanji.
Yeah,
What work do you do?
rice walk.
You are a rice farmer.
Yeah,
Where do you have your rice farm?
New Forest.
Where?
New Forest.
New Forest. That's at the back of Kanji.
Yeah, down in the.
Down in the back dam.
Yeah,
Now, how long you have been planting rice there?
long now, but 2-3 years.
About 2-3 years.
Yeah.
How much rice did you plant?
Me just want the worker, you know. Me don't.
Oh, you work with somebody?
Yeah,
Okay.
just work with the farmers.
Okay. Now tell us what happened. Why is your hand in bandage?
Sunday, the 4th Sunday, we was doing a little spraying at the back dam, rice walk, chemical. Was riding and coming home. We go with the gas man the gangram. We get 2 shots of drink. But every time we go do spraying chemical, we just take 2 shots. Right, was riding coming home. My brother end up and ride and jam a car man, a gangram man car. Now the police van was behind the car. Then I stopped and asked my brother where he light and where he brakes.
What
Yeah.
time was this?
But 8 something.
In the morning, in the
No,
night? In
After,
the night.
Yeah.
So let me because you're speaking in a manner that may be difficult to understand.
Yeah.
So you and your brother and some workmen,
No, me and my brother.
you and your brother alone, coming from the back dam.
Yeah,
You had just finished spraying the rice with chemical.
yeah.
So you took 2 shots and you were riding coming
Coming
home.
home from Gangram.
And in the vicinity of Gangaram, your brother ride into a car.
Yeah, and the van was right behind the car.
And there was a van behind the car.
Yeah, police van.
Come. Yes. Yes, go on.
And then start to harass my brother, ask you where you light or where you brakes.
Who started to harass your brother?
Them police.
How many police officers? 3 police officers.
Yeah.
Do you know which station they are attached to?
Me see Flash. Me know one name Flash. There's
One
the-
named Flas,
Yeah, there's the Reliance.
you said Reliance.
Yeah. And the next one, 2, me listen see them a Reliance. Then said them on New Amsterdam Central.
They are from Central
Yeah.
Police. How many of them?
3 of them.
3 police officers. What did they do?
And then start harass my brother, start hitting my brother with an arm button because my brother no want to go in the van. My brother tell him say, we just come from back down, my skin full of chemical. I can't lock me up, I can lock me up because I jam a car, or we can settle this without for lock me up. And I said, no, get in the van. So you get locked up today and start my brother, so I can't lock me up. So I hold up my brother and lash him up with a button. Hold my brother with a gun on the foot and start lashy with a button. And I said, man, boss, man, what you do really? And I said, me who? He said, I'm my brother, what you do really? I can't harass a man like that, you no thief, man, no criminal. Why you go do this? The man tell me go home. I say, alright boss man, I'll go home. By the time he turn back, finish my cycle, me turn back and watch him, then I done harass me body boss man. I say, why you do really? I've been a criminal, like I want to kill somebody. Why you do really? And one day walk up to me. He say, you not here, me tell you go home. I say, alright boss man. By the time he turn back, I call up my bicycle, he hit me 3 times, 2 in my back. And one and break my hand.
He hit you 3 times with what?
A button.
A baton, 2
Yeah.
on your back.
2 on my back here and 1 on my hand. And my hand break. And when my hand break, I not go home. Me turn back, me go to them, me put on my bicycle, me go to them, say, boss, my why I do really, what me do, I make I broke my hand. What me do, I mean, I'm no criminal, boss, my why you knock me for and break my hand, what me do, I yo?
But how you know your hand was broken at the same time?
Because when the man lash me feel my hand fall, so I'm still like this break. When me feel so, me feel a knot the head. So come me know so my hand break.
Where did that your wrist?
Yeah, directly here, so.
Oh, you,
Yeah.
So, you went to the doctor?
Yeah,
Which doctor you went to?
New Amsterdam.
New Amsterdam. And what is it that you have here?
This?
Plaster Paris?
Yes, plaster Paris. It break. And
Oh, so your hand break.
We gotta go do surgery.
When you have to go do surgery?
Then go call me. We left me number and thing.
Okay. Well, viewers, this is a gentleman. How old are you?
27.
Are you married?
Yeah, I get 2 kids.
You got 2 kids.
School.
And they're going to school.
Yeah.
And you
And me
look
live-
after them.
Yeah, me live in renting house, boss. Now, how my children go to school?
So you don't have no other source of income. And the police, now I want you to give me the correct name. You will see, give them outside the correct name of the policeman, and I want a medical from the doctor, and I want you to leave your telephone number. I will talk to you, all right, after the program. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So viewers, you have seen and heard for yourself the plight and predicament of that young man. He was beaten by the police. He says 1 is attached to the Reliance police station and 2 attached to Central Police Station, New Amsterdam. They beat him and broke his hand, his right hand, and it is now in plaster Paris, and he has to undergo an operation, a surgery, sometime in the near future. He has 2 children and a wife. He lives in a renting home or renting house, and they all depend upon him because he is the breadwinner of that family. Well, I have asked him to leave his contact number, and I will sue the police officer, the police officers, as well as the state for the injuries that he has received. And this is what is taking place in our country. On the one hand, you have bandits wreaking havoc among the population, in particular here in Berbice. And then on the other hand, you have the police unleashing on the people. So the people in this region are being beaten and pulverized, robbed, killed by bandits. And then on the other hand, you have the police who are, according to this gentleman, doing the same thing, beating and breaking people's bones. Well, as I said, I will sue those police officers, and this gentleman will get justice. It may take some time, but sure, he will get justice. The residents of Skeldon have asked me to raise on this program their complaint that the stray catchers have now unleashed themselves upon those farmers. You will recall that some months ago we had farmers here on this program from Kanji, in particular Reliance Kanji, and then we had persons from Albion Front who complained bitterly about stray catchers wrongly impounding their animals. Well, after highlighting the matter on this program, the complaints seem to have died out and the stray catchers seem to have migrated or shifted their focus from Kanji and Albion, and now they are brutalizing and harassing the people at Skeldon. I am calling upon those who are in charge of this wayward bunch, and I am asking the superior personnel to rein in these officers. People are going to take this matter into their own hands eventually. No one will allow themselves to be abused and brutalized for any protracted period of time without responding. So please desist from harassing and victimizing the farmers at Skeldon. There is also a gentleman who came to see me. His name is Dennis Pargas. Dennis Pargas. And he has pleaded with me to raise on this program and to highlight on this program a problem which he has. Mr. Dennis Pargas is the recipient of NIS pensions, and he received a check from NIS paid to him since July 2016. Unfortunately, he got that check wet and it was torn. He took back the check to the New Amsterdam NIS office for it to be replaced, and to date no one is able to give him back a check. Dennis Pargas is his name, and I am calling upon some senior officer at the National Insurance Scheme office in New Amsterdam to please look into this matter and expedite the replacement of this gentleman's check. It is his pensions, and of course he needs his pensions to look after his expenses. So please, someone at the NIS office in New Amsterdam, please try to assist Mr. Dennis Pargas with the replacement of his check. As I said, the check was damaged since July. We are now in August, September. So 2 months have passed and he has been unable to secure a replacement of that check. A matter that is of importance and is occupying the media, and it originates in Berbice, and perhaps we should discuss it, is the resignation of Dr. Veerasamy Ramaiah as REO of Region Number 6. Dr. Ramaiah is no stranger to you. He is a political activist and leader of the Alliance for Change. He was a member of Parliament, and he boasts of getting the AFC into government. He boasts of helping to secure most of the votes that the AFC and the coalition government got from Region Number 6 and Region Number 5. And today he has resigned, and his leaders, Moses Nagamutu and Kemraj Ramjatan, have both abandoned him, and Moses Nagamutu has accused him of dishonesty and has accused him of hating the coalition from the beginning. Kemraj Ramjatan has denied that the party owes him a cent. Ramaiah contends that the party owes him $15 million, that he sold a property and took the money and gave it to the AFC, and they are refusing even to recognize the debt more so paid. Ramaiah says that he worked night and day to get them into government. He said that his wife cooked like a slave. That's the exact language he used, to get them into government. And today they have unceremoniously kicked him and is now pouring scorn on him and is accusing him of dishonesty. Ramaiah, on the other hand, is saying that the administration is corrupt, that he resigned because he is being instructed who to give contracts to, and that he refuses to carry out those directions because he believes that persons should only get contract in accordance with the law and the system that allows for transparency and accountability. Moses Lagamotu has responded and said that that is a complete lie and that Ramaiah is being dishonest. What can I say? I personally, I have no sympathy for Ramaiah. I believe that they should have treated him worse. I have no sympathy for the amount of money that he lost. I believe that he should have lost more. Because when you associate yourself with dishonest people, when you associate yourself with political opportunists, when you associate yourself with selfish people, then that is the consequence you have to bear. So I have no sympathy for Ramaiah. My only regret is that they did not treat him worse. They should have treated him worse. They should have taken more money from him. That is my only, what I want to say. Significantly, Ramaiah has to live with his own conscience. I understand someone told me that he was crying last week on some television station. Well, he should be crying more, because he has made so many other people cry. He has brought misery to so many other poor people. He has caused injustice to take place to so many people. He has contributed to the state that the country is in. And what he should do is to try to make amends by getting all those people who he got to vote for the coalition to change their support. That's the only way that he can make amends for what he has done. He has done nothing wrong other than what he has caused to the lives of so many people. And it is those people to whom he owes an apology, and it is to those people to whom he should work tirelessly to ensure that whoever he got to vote for this coalition government, that they now vote differently. And that is the only way that he can make amends for what he has done. So, Dr. Ramaiah, you and I have a good relationship, but I have no sympathy for you. You got what you have to get. That is the karmic cycle. You hang around with a laborious snake, you will be bitten. It's the logic of life. A laborious snake only knows one thing, and that is to bite. and you have been bitten. So make sure you take your medication and you don't allow the poison to affect you. But in terms of sympathy and empathy, I really have none for you. So let us move on to deal with other issues that are taking place in our country. I read in the newspaper an alarming disclosure. This government refused to award a contract to Topco Juices. Topco Juices is produced by DDL, and DDL has been supplying the school feeding program with those juices for the past 10 years. Past 6 years, sorry. DDL is a company of international reputation. DDL has won awards all over the world for the quality of its products. DDL employs thousands of Guyanese. DDL pays millions of dollars in taxes and also gets tax write-offs in millions of dollars. DDL came in as the lowest bidder for those juices, but the contract was awarded to the third highest bidder, Ludisa International of Suriname. Now, I am not advocating that we must discriminate against foreign companies. In fact, I know that we have an obligation to ensure that there is a level playing field in this country, and that foreign and local companies must not operate at a disadvantage, and that they must be, once the foreign company is from the CARICOM region, because that is our obligation under the Treaty of Chaguaramas. We can't discriminate once the goods originate from the CARICOM region. But countries within the CARICOM have always found ways and means of encouraging and incentivizing their local producers. So Trinidad has the cheapest cost of electricity or energy in the region, but yet Trinidad subsidizes its manufacturing sector, and Trinidad is not accused of discriminating. I want to know, how is it and why is it that a company of the quality, of the standing, of the stature, of the caliber of DDL, if it comes in as the lowest bidder, why is it not being awarded this contract? Why? It can't be that the product is substandard. I don't think DDL produces anything that is substandard. As I said, DDL receives accolades and awards globally. So it came in as the lowest bid. I know that you're not bound to accept the lowest bidder. But when a company like that comes in as the lowest bidder, it's a matter of course that it should get the award. Why did DDL not get this award? Significantly, DDL doesn't own a farm. DDL buys the fruits that they use in those Topco juices. If it is sorrel, if it is five finger, if it is gooseberry, if it is jamun, if it is cherry, if it is guava, it buys those fruits from small farmers right across the length and breadth of this country. So when you do not buy from DDL, then you are affecting the livelihood of thousands of farmers from Crabwood Creek to Charity to Lethem to Linden to Aichuni to Kakwani, right across the length and breadth of this country. Rudisa doesn't buy anything from Guyana. And I don't have anything against Rudisa. Neither do I hold a brief for DDL. But again, you see karmic justice. Isu Prasad, the chairman of DDL, is one of those who endorsed the coalition. He endorsed the coalition. And look at what is happening to him today. But my heart doesn't go out to DDL. My heart goes out to the thousands of workers that DDL employs and the thousands of small farmers who are going to be affected because DDL will no longer buy their fruits and their produce. So you have a government that is not creating employment, and the president said that the job of the government is not to create employment, though they promised widespread employment to young people in particular during the elections campaign. When they get government, to hell with you. We don't have to create jobs. But they are at the same time, while they are not creating jobs, they are taking away jobs from other people who are trying to create jobs. They are taking away jobs from other people who are trying to create jobs. So they took a long time to process Barama's license, and as a result, Barama was forced to dismiss over 100 and something persons just 2 weeks ago. Because they didn't process those licenses on time. The renewal of those licenses. And now this week, you have thousands of farmers who are going to be put on the red line because this government refuses to give DDL a contract and gives Rudisa a contract. And I've asked journalists in this country, and I'm going to ask you, the people of Berbice, and the journalists of Berbice, to examine what relationship this government has with this company Rudisa. You will recall that they did not have to pay the judgment awarded by the CCJ. And I've explained this a million times why. That Rudisa owes Guyana hundreds of millions of dollars of taxes once they are audited. But this government doles out 1.2 billion to Rudisa. Why? And then I recall that before the elections, many of the leading players in this government, while they were in the opposition, was driving a particular car, it's called Kia, sold by Rudisa. And I want to know what really is this relationship between this company and this government. The corruption is unfathomable. The corruption is unfathomable. And while, as I said, so what signal rather is this government sending to local manufacturers? You impose 142 new tax measures in your budget for 2016, all designed to negatively impact upon the commercial sector. 142 new tax measures. So every type of business licenses, they raise the price. Every type of public licenses required by businessmen in whatever endeavor that they may wish to embark upon or that they are embarking upon, their license fees have gone up. Then you impose VAT on agricultural, industrial and mining equipment when the PPP had those equipment as VAT free. Then you impose an increase of 10% on steel importation. Then you impose a tax on the importation of raw materials used by the manufacturing sector when those raw materials used to be tax-free under the PPP government. Then you withhold all the incentives that the business community and businessmen used to enjoy depending upon the type of activity that they are engaged in and the region in which they are engaged in those activities. We gave concessions. So if you invested in region 10 or in region 7 or in region 5 or region 6, you got tax concessions and duty-free concessions. And you got duty-free concessions and tax concessions if you were investing in particular industries. They put a hold on all those tax concessions. So, and then you have decisions like this. And then you have SARU and SARA that's scaring the daylight out of the business sector. And when the business sector complain, you tell them go to hell. And then you have SOCU running around targeting businessmen and searching their homes and seizing their assets and seizing their jewelry. How do you expect this country to grow? How do you expect the country to breathe? How do you expect people to live? It is as if these people have a mandate to destroy this entire country. It is as if it is as if they are allergic to progress. Because they are searching. And I was telling that to the opposition leader. He and I were gaffing the other day, and I was saying to him that, these people are going out of their way to find ways and means to frustrate this economy and to frustrate business and to frustrate the people of this country. Half of the things that they are doing they don't have to do, but they are doing it. It is as if they are possessed with some supernatural instinct and mandate and instruction to destroy this country, to destroy all the progress which have been made in this country. No matter which direction you look, you are seeing. All you're seeing around you is spending of money, no earning. So we have a big conference going on where we are hosting the judges of the Caribbean. Do you know how much that will cost this country? Do you know how much that will cost this country? And at the same time, you knock out Topco Juices from a contract and you give it to Rhodesia. So the country is bleeding all around. The money instead of circulating in Guyana will now go circulate in Suriname. And nothing seems to be wrong with these people. They don't seem to think anything is wrong with what they are doing. Just the other day we had another massive conference of judges who came here. It's called the Hague Convention Conference. That was only 2 or 3 months ago. That must have cost us 20-30 million. And now we have another one that will cost us another 30 million in 1 week. And the country is not earning 30 million in 1 week. So we are running at a loss all the time. So every time you have to go deeper and deeper into the treasury. Soon all the savings will done. A country is just like your home. If you keep spending and spending and you're not earning, then the little savings that you have will go. And then you will start to borrow to live. And then the loans will become too much for you to pay. And then you become bankrupt. Exactly what they did to us. It is unbelievable that 25 years after, these people come back and are doing identically the same thing. It is amazing. It is amazing. And what is amazing is that I predicted this. Any one of you would have listened to me at political meetings that I had before the 2015 elections, or would have listened to me on NCN in New Amsterdam, or would have listened to me on Pearl Television, you would have heard me say everything that I'm saying now. That this is what will happen in this country. That these people will embrace boredom as their God. That they will discriminate rampantly. That they will spend and sport, but they will not earn. That they will travel around the world. That Ramaya will be kicked out. All of these things I said. And every single one of them coming to pass. It's as if I have divine powers, but I don't. Anyway, we will take some calls now, and I want to hear your views on the important issues. Caller, you're on the air.
Good night.
Good night. Where are you calling me from?
West Kanji.
West Kanji.
I heard you said about cow-catchers harassing around the Skellen area.
Yes.
But we in West Kanji are cow roaming day and night, nobody catching cow here.
Nobody catching cow in West Kanji?
And day and night.
Okay.
The cow goes on the roadside, they just savannah.
Alright, caller, thank you. So this caller in West Kanji is saying that there are many cattle that are grazing without supervision. Caller, you're on the air.
Good night, Mr. Anil.
Good night, good night.
My major concern that the PPP had a showcase at Albion. And when this year they keep the thing at Albion, when I went there, I was surprised to have Moses Nagamutu booth and Ramjatan booth at display them in Albion. Huh?
You went to a trade fair at Albion.
For these exports.
Borby's Expo.
Albion.
Albion.
And when I went there, I was walking around with my family.
Yes.
It was shocking to know that we have a booth with Ramjatan and Moses Nagamutu displayed there and said this is the best people in. In all this time, these are the best people.
And they were on display?
There was their picture was there and people are displayed. This good and do, this good and do, this good and do. That's one point I was very shocked. Why RDDs can have Mr. Our Prime Minister, we could have Clement Rui. That's one. The another thing, at Port Morant Market on Friday night, there is too much of harassment to people in the afternoon, Friday after people would sell. The police them harass people. I think right now the matter, I don't know how it ended up.
Alright, caller.
Another point, the Ramaya, I think he suffered his biggest defeat in his whole life. What he have done to Indian people, all of us.
You sorry for it?
You know, sorry for him, he betrayed Indian people.
Well, you know what, Indian people, he betrays sensible people.
Good, all right. Yeah, thank you, sir.
And misleads stupid people.
Yeah.
Good. This issue with Port Morant Market keep coming up, and I would ask our MPs, Comrade Zulfikar Mustafa, Comrade Adrian Anamaya, and Dr. Vishwa Mahadev. There are 3 MPs in this region, and I am asking, please look look at that matter. I will talk to them, of course, off the air. But something has to be done about this Friday interaction or confusion that is taking place at the Port Moran tarmac. I have received a number of complaints about it, so we need to get to the bottom of it. Caller, you're on the air.
Good night.
Good night.
You know, see, since they take over this country, Blight, this country, they have nothing now.
But we got plenty Diwali, and we got more Diwali, and we got more Pagwa, and we got two each.
When you go in the hospital, you have to buy, go on market to buy $4,000 in tablets. You have nothing at all.
And you see how much money they're paying to rent a bond,
And what about the
to store in pharmaceutical.
pension? Can't do it, the money can't do.
But they raise their own salary by 50%. You know that.
Yes.
So and Nagamoto now carries home $1.7 million. What is your pension?
I pension 80,200.
18,000 a month, and he carry home 1.7 million a month.
From there,
And every expense of his is paid for by the state.
that
Oh, Jesus.
$4,000 a tablet. Since then, take over this country, Blight.
Okay, caller, thank you. The caller is saying that when she goes to the hospital, she has to find $4,000 to buy tablets. Her pension is only $18,000. Nagamoto tablets are paid for by the state. The light bill paid for by the state. The water paid for by the state. The maid paid for by the state. The telephone bill paid for by the state. The vehicle paid for by the state. The driver paid for by the state. The maid paid for by the state. And yet the salary is 1.7 million. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, good night, Mr. Daniel.
Good night.
The calling from this bank. I just want to make a comment about the state of the country. You know, I said a couple of times on your program before that external forces are just playing here. This is controlling this government, and they are happy with what's going on in this country, you know. I don't know if you want to accept it or not, but it is a fact.
I don't share that view. I can't imagine why external forces would want this government to do what this government is doing.
Yeah, because when the country bankrupt, you got to get to them to borrow. That's the point.
Well, I know of people who hold that view. It's a global view in relation to how first world countries and the financial institutions of the world keep third world countries in subjugation. But a lot of people do not subscribe to that view. But I know that there is a large school of thought in the direction that you are speaking. All right?
Yeah, but I personally feel that way.
Okay, caller. Thank you. Yes. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, good night, sir.
Good night.
Ask me as to one thing.
Yes.
In our next TDP manifesto, who will be the presidential candidate, you or someone else?
Well, the party is yet to make that decision.
No, I think if you be the presidential candidate, you will do good. Trust me.
Okay, caller, thank you for your vote of confidence, but the decision is not mine. The decision has to be made by the party.
One next thing I'll tell you,
Yes.
be from Belvedere, and I be road body is very bad.
Where is it?
Belvedere South.
Belvedere?
South.
Belvedere South.
Yes, sir.
That's by Belvedere Inn, going in.
No. R&S Street.
R
and S Street, you know,
and S Street.
back.
Okay. Alright. I know that the regional chairman and the vice chairman, both Comrade Armagan and Comrade Deroop, normally watch this program. So they are listening to you. R and S Street, Belvedere South, according to this caller,
Yes.
is in a deplorable condition,
Our next
and he's asking for your kind intervention.
game.
All right?
Mr. Ramaya, Mr. Dr. Ramaya,
Well, you are a far better person than I am. I am not sorry for you.
he's a dirty man, trust me.
You know what? She used to say,
But, listen,
Banwari say, gotta bear your chief.
you know,
I don't know where that saying comes
you
from.
know, Ramaya do all the work. And then now Nagamutu see the man is incompetent. Our body, the man do so much things for the party. AFC.
Chief,
Yeah, buddy.
do you know what is a snake?
Yeah, Labaria, it's about Labaria.
All right. What do you expect?
You know, scarf is used to bite.
Well, I remember. All right, caller, thank you.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you. I remember on the television, Dave television station, where Ramaya used to have Mr. Moses Nagamotu. And Ramaya used to virtually worship this man. He used to call him Brother Moses and Brother Mose. And Moses used to tell him how he struggled and how he fought in the PVP and how we were so bad in the PVP and how he defended Jagan's legacy. You know, Moses, a gas man, lied to the world, and that we were all bad people, that he was the only Jaganite in the PVP. And Ramaya used to say, Brother Mose, forgive them. Forgive them, Brother Mose. Well, Ramaya get Brother Mose. Caller, you're on the air. Lower your television volume.
Yeah, man, you know, now we reporting to these people concerning New Street, Cumberland.
New Street, Cumberland. Who are you reporting to?
To the neighborhood, to everybody who in authority and them telling you all them budget were passing, they're going to put it in. My budget falling out steady.
All right. As I said to the other caller, the regional chairman and the vice chairman normally watch this program. I have no doubt that the NDC chair of that NDC in the area is also looking at the program, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm calling upon them. Give me the street name again.
New Street, Cumberland, is it the high?
New Street, Cumberland, Kanji, right?
Yeah, New Street, Cumberland.
Yes. Thank you very much, caller. So we are moving on in time. Caller, you're on the air.
Also,
Hi.
good evening.
Uh-huh.
Now Guyana is of interest to the Americans, so how is the PPP starting to deal with what is called the American interest in Guyana?
Go slowly. America, yeah, you're saying,
Guyana is of interest to the Americans since they've discovered oil.
uh-huh.
How is it that the PPP plans to deal with the American interest? The fact that
Okay, thank you. Let me deal with that caller, because a lot of people, the caller has raised an important point. Guyana-America relations, or rather the PPP-US relations. The PPP in government never had a problem for 24 years with the Americans. We never had. We always had cordial and friendly relations with the United States of America up until we left office in 2015. In terms of politics, our politics were the same or were coincidental with American politics. Our interests were the same. We pursued a similar style of government. We encouraged private investment. In fact, a lot of American and North American investments came here. We don't have a problem with America, the PPP. We may have had problems with personnel who were stationed at the embassy over the last few years. And that must not be misinterpreted as a problem with the United States. We saw us, the PPP, and the American staff here had some difference of views, and that's about it. But we don't have a problem with the United States of America, and therefore it is all the American investors who are there drilling the oil, all of them came under us. The Exxon Mobil and all the large companies that are here, we brought them here. So we don't have a difficulty with America. And the US should not have a difficulty with us. All we want in terms of any sector, inclusive of the oil sector, is that the people of Guyana must get a fair share of what is to be derived from that industry. And that is the responsibility of any sensible, competent, and nationalistic government. And that's all that we will ask for. Caller, you're on the air.
Good night.
Good night.
I think Ramaya deserved more, and he only seen the trailer. He's not seeing the real picture as yet. The next is Ramjatan, and then they got to deal with Nagamutu. They got to see the real movie, what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we will take one final call. The phones are going. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Mr. Nandala. Very good night to you, sir.
Good night. Where are you calling me from?
I am calling you from West Coast of Barbados. I just tuned in.
Good, West Coast. Thank you.
Right. Since I just tuned in, I didn't hear your program, but
Well, that's bad.
I would like to ask you if you have heard about the Nana statement that the president had made.
No.
Well, the president has said in one of his presentations that we should get rid of the Nani and Nana. Well, if you didn't hear, then you don't know what's the Nani and Nana.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Cane and rice as Nani and Nana.
Okay.
And we should get rid of cane and rice. We should get rid of Nani and Nana and get into other business.
What is the other business?
I don't know. This is the president of this country making such, I don't know what word to use.
Okay, caller, this is what I can promise you.
Right?
I am going to find where that statement was made so that I can understand the context in which it was made. And that is what I will begin my program with next week. All right?
They're moving into rice at Wales.
Yes.
Since they're so interesting to move away from sugar and rice, rice is not a good business. Why are they moving into rice at Wales Estate?
You know,
they could have gone into other diversification and have that 500-acre being pilot project so we can see what else to do.
All right, caller, thank you. We cannot go, we have a problem in finding markets for the rice that we are currently planting. Are we going to plant more? But those are the issues, along with some other issues, I would want to discuss on the next occasion, since the operator is signaling to me that I am out of time. This is where I have to say goodbye and good evening to you. Have a pleasant week until we meet again next week. Thank you very much and good evening.